This is Derek Rugsocken, and you are listening to the Southeast by Southwest podcast, where we explore Asian food, New Mexico, and the stories they share. So, full disclosure, I am a personal superfan of our next guest. Long before I started doing this podcast, I had been following their journey on Instagram, where they were posting pictures of the most extra ramen bowls and Japanese-inspired apps I had seen in a long time. Their Instagram feed is a foodie's dream, and they are truly a team who lives in their ideals of creating a sustainable, hyper-local, and seasonal establishment, staying close with their growers and sources to bring the best of local flavors, prepared with reverence for the technique of the cuisine that they're offering. If you've ever been to Japan, you understand the sensitivity and reverence of the culture, especially in cooking, and they have these restaurants called omakase, which center their rotating menus around presenting the best and brightest of seasonal ingredients in the truest, that is, tastiest way possible. In many ways, Oni is a New Mexican omakase in spirit, following closely the flow of the seasons and the good work of our area growers. I will also admit that while I try to find a way to love all food, high and low, I just don't mess around when it comes to ramen. I ate so much of this stuff during my semester in Japan in 2003 to know what constitutes a delicious bowl. And like all things Japanese, the devil is most definitely in the details. Okay, so for starters, the noodles need to have the right consistency. They need to be chewy, bouncy, and slurpable. It's just an absolute must. Next, the broth needs to be rich and balanced, with umami and fat that coats every noodle like a sauce as you bring them to your mouth. Now, that broth must, and I repeat must, be served scorchingly, unreasonably hot. It should feel a little bit dangerous to eat the stuff, and only through refining your slurping technique should you avoid getting burned. There are other equally important details, I'd say. Smoky, satisfying bite of pork belly, a perfectly soft egg, the right amount of toppings, the right amount in general. I mean, Japanese ramen bowls are massive. And all these things play together in the beautiful symphony that is a good bowl of ramen. Well, I was happy to discover that for all the hype, Oni Noodles ramen hits on every level. From the richness of the broth, extracted from Talus Wind Ranch pork bones, to the runny local egg that just pours in to it and infuses it with yolky richness, to the perfectly chewy, resistant noodles. Mine also had braised cabbage, local corn, shiitake mushrooms, and scallions, which were all great touches. Aside from strengthening the local community and ecosystem, fresh local produce just tastes better, and fresh food made with care absolutely sings when you eat it. I made a trip out to Albuquerque just to find out what all the hype was about, and I found in Chef David DeGaspar and his partner Daniel Linver a pair of humble and welcoming hosts. We talked at length about their story and the story of Oni Noodles, and Chef David was more than willing to share his process and techniques with me. What I saw in the chef was the same thing that I saw in every level of the restaurant, from menu to marketing, and that's integrity. Here he talks about how it all started.
Yeah, well, I'm just growing up in the family I had. We were always, parties were around food, get-togethers were around food, holidays around food. Everything fun and social, food was kind of the centerpiece, you know?
Yeah.
So to me, food, fell in love at a young age. So falling in the career, which was almost accidental, I was a dishwasher for a bit, and just fell in love with the food culture and the scene and everything around it, the adrenaline, working on the line, all that kind of stuff. But originally, yes, it was the family that really did it for me. And where I lived, moving up to Portland, Oregon at a young age, big food scene, a lot of inspiration, a lot of serious cooks, serious chefs, got to work under some amazing people that taught me not only, technique, but talent and respect for the ingredients and the food. So it was love at first sight, honestly.
What was the food culture like for you growing up? In not only your family, also your family, but your community as well.
It was great. Like, I was in El Paso, and grew up in a Mexican family that had big get-togethers and fiestas. You know, we got together as much as we could, and food is a big part of Mexican culture, and it's amazing, and I love it. You know, I love Mexican food, is dear to my heart, and I eat it still probably every day. You know, grew up with the rice and beans in the fridge at all times, and you know, that's where I learned to cook the egg. I was like, all right, let's put an egg on top of this stuff and spice it up.
Is that right?
Put a little chili pepper on that. Yeah, I learned how to make hot sauce and an egg like at a pretty young age, because those are two things that can just bring anything to life.
See, that's the type of story that I really love, is this idea, you know, that you grew up in a Mexican family and a lot of your flavor history comes from that, but then now you're cooking ramen in Albuquerque, which is just so interesting to me, you know.
Well, it's crazy to me, honestly. Like the kind of Japanese food I had in El Paso were kind of, it was aimed at an American audience. You know, you have the Philadelphia roll, you know, cream cheese, some, you know, just stuff like that. And then so I really started discovering like raw ingredients and just, you know, beautiful plated and flavor profiles layered on layered. And they were clean flavors. And a lot of, you know, Mexican food is like that. There's not a lot of cheese in real traditional Mexican food. That's, you know, there's some queso seco and different things, but you know, you look at a menu in Mexico City and you're not going to find cheese on every dish. There'll be a couple items of cheese on it, but a lot of it is, you know, paying true to the ingredients they have. Right.
Yeah, it's funny how it gets twisted once it crosses the border like that, huh? Or that, you know, it's interpreted rather.
Right. Well, and then all food too. It's geared toward the audience that's gonna buy it and pay for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. Why ramen? Right. What's you know, you have the world of gastronomy. Why ramen?
Yeah, just at the time I started toying with ramen probably back in 2013 or so, mostly because I was running a Japanese styled izakaya up in Portland, and the cold weather, the long winters, bone broth was like, I just started reading about how good bone broth was for you and the health benefits, and how, you know, we're lacking it in the American diet. I just thought, you know, put two and two together. I was like, this would be perfect to be able to sell ramen in the Pacific Northwest in cold days. I had awesome local pork bone source. I was doing a smoked pork cheek ramen at the time, so it was just like nice, gelatinous, warming broth, and you know, a little bit of chili in there. Yeah, it was awesome. But it was the cold weather that really got me inspired by it.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's interesting. So you were actually cooking ramen in Portland as well for a time.
Yeah, I would do it seasonally. I would only do it from I don't know, maybe November to April.
Okay.
Right. Even though the winters are much longer than that.
Yeah.
But it's a process, you know. It takes a lot of time.
What can someone expect, start to finish? You're putting together a bowl of ramen. What goes into that? What does the customer get?
For this one, I'll talk about the shoyu broth.
Yeah,
I think that's our best seller. My personal favorite. So today, what we're doing, we got all the bones in today. We're roasting them in the oven, all the pork bones. Roasting them off to a good caramelize the outside, make them nice and brown and golden and beautiful. Drop them in the stock pot, let them simmer, and they're already simmering now. They'll be going for 24 hours, and I'll throw like kind of my version of a mirepoix in there just to give it a little more aromatics. Let that steep for about an hour, strain that out, and that's kind of the base of that's the pork stock right there. And then once that is done, I make a dashi stock on the side. We're going through so much dashi, and again, I'm telling you, we're using shiitake instead of traditional katsuobushi, which is the bonito flakes. So the shiitake and the seaweed dashi kombu, make that stock. And for the pork broth, once I strain it, I reduce it a little bit. So I add this little concentrated dashi stock to the pork broth to kind of give it that richness, and the seaweed and the mushrooms and all that. So that's our shoyu. And then to season that shoyu, we make the tare. So the tare is made of mirin, sake, and soy sauce, and I simmer that very lightly with some roasted chicken backs coming in from Mary's farm. So there's so many steps. So we simmer that, we strain that out, and that tare is going to be the salt in the shoyu ramen, and that's why it's called a shoyu, because the season is shoyu. which is shoyu soy sauce.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the stock itself is that, and then the pork belly's been in the smoker all day it goes for 6 hours. So that's been smoking. So that's the pork you're getting on there. That's a chashu pork you're getting on there. The egg raised on sand farm. We do luckily nowadays in our age we can use a sous vide. So I sous vide the eggs, get them to that nice perfect custardy texture, which as soon as you break that yolk, it just disappears into the broth. Adds the richness to the broth. All the vegetables. Let's see, what are we doing this week? I got some roasted peppers in, so I'm going to roast some peppers in the oven. I got some more corn. Let's do a quick blanch on that. Some shiitake mushrooms are always in there. Some seared off cabbage is always in there. And then of course the chili oil for the shoyu. We're saving some of that chicken fat from the bones, and I infuse that with a little red chili and some garlic. And so that's going to be that little bit of fat that's on top of the ramen, just to add a little richness to it.
Okay.
So it's a fun bowl. I mean, yeah, there's a lot, and the thing is it takes days to make the stuff.
Exactly.
And we like doing that, but that's the beautiful thing about getting a good bowl of ramen. You can't just think you're going to have it at home one night at 5 p.m. and make yourself a bowl of ramen for dinner.
Right.
It's got to be Tuesday, and then you're thinking like, oh, I'll have ramen on Friday. And then you get started with the process.
Right.
So,
right. Well,
so it takes time. It's slow food.
Yeah.
And that's you can taste it. I could always taste it.
Oh man, 100%. I could 100% taste it. And I think that's one of the things that really stands out about you guys is your unwillingness to take shortcuts, is to really play that long game to get those flavors authentically. In a way that really represents the food and not some imitation of the flavor, right? Well, that's awesome. I really appreciate that breakdown of the bowl, and just for our listeners to have an understanding of exactly how much goes into that, as far as just getting them that simple, apparently simple bowl of ramen. And one of the things I didn't realize was that you guys were a pop-up and then you were a truck. Is that right?
Yeah, the pop-up it wasn't called Oni. The pop-up was something I was doing up in Santa Fe a couple times. Mostly my buddy Craig, NM Hard Cider's venue up there. And then did a couple on Silverleaf Farms up in Corrales.
Okay, I love farm-based pop-up dinners. There's nothing quite like eating food on the actual land where it was grown. But I'd never heard of someone doing it with ramen. I had to call Alon Silverblatt-Buser of Silverleaf Farms in Albuquerque to get more on this story. I was just over there speaking with, Chef David DeGaspar of Oni Noodles, and he mentioned that, earlier in their process they had kind of started with some pop-ups at your farm. Is that right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just, curious. Well, I'm curious to hear a little bit about farm and what you guys do, but also just to hear about your impressions of working with Chef David and how all that went.
Okay. So the farm, we're located in Corrales. My brother and my brother really started it as a backyard garden about 12 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And now we have about 20 acres that we lease, and we have year-round production in some of our greenhouses, and there's about 10 of us.
Oh, nice.
And we service the Albuquerque and Santa Fe area, certified organic. And we do, premium mixed organic vegetables.
Oh, nice.
There's obviously a lot more, but that's kind of the summary.
Yeah.
So I forget what year it was. It must have been it was either 2016 or 2017. We met David when he was still working in Santa Fe, and I think he was looking to move down to Albuquerque and learn more about kind of the food production side of the whole food industry. And so reached out to us. And so he actually worked with us on the farm for maybe 4 months or so.
Oh, wow.
just doing, just jumping right in. So that was a cool experience, not only, I'm sure, for him, but for us, because, with us and our crew, we got to eat all kinds of great food. And, essentially it would be the little simple, whatever random produce we had laying around would all of a sudden be turned into some, delicious salsa or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we had a great time having David on the crew. And I think he had been talking about wanting to do his own Japanese style restaurant, especially with ramen. And so we did a couple pop-ups, a couple ramen dinners on the farm, and just kind of pushed all the equipment aside and hung some string lights, and David cooked ramen for, I think, about 35, maybe 40 of us.
Oh, wow.
And so that was, I think he probably already had a lot of this stuff in his head, but we were lucky because we got to take advantage of that and be recipients of some of the experimentation.
Right.
And then, he worked at Artichoke after he was with us on the farm. And then he was doing a food truck to start Oni at the same time. He was at Artichoke, and anyone in the food community here, everyone's just super supportive. So I remember towing the food truck around a few times and seeing seeing it at the beginning, and now we're super stoked that they've got a brick and mortar. And
well, the one thing that really struck me when I talked to David was just the integrity that he has and the respect that he has for the food and the ingredients. And I know he very much expressed the value for his relationship with you guys and all the other local producers that are helping make Oni what it is right now.
No, I mean, that's just across the board. Like, we always strive to have highest quality coming out of the farm, but they don't just stop with us. They seek high quality for everything. So we appreciate that.
Right. For sure.
I mean, I guess just kind of speaking on that, it's always kind of been this project idea, at least that we've seen. I remember one of the first times I met David, he served me some ramen.
Oh, cool.
I think he had some leftover ramen that he had made in Santa Fe, and that's like one of the first experiences of food I've had with David. And it's definitely he's always talked about wanting to start his own ramen restaurant, and so cool to get to see the dream play out.
For sure. Yeah. All right, Alon. Well, hey, man, thanks so much for your time. And if I have any follow-up questions, I'll shoot you a text.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. All right. Well, have a great weekend and rest of your day.
You too, man.
Thanks. Okay, so he never mentioned it to me in over an hour and a half of conversations. I literally had to call the farmer to get the story. But the chef actually worked on the farm for 4 months to get a better understanding of the ingredients and where they come from. And then he put on the pop-ups there. Okay, are you still with us? Let's get back to the story.
And then once Oni came to be is when we really hit it full steam. Good buddy Wade lent me his food truck, and I saw it. I was like, that would work perfectly for what I'm trying to do. It's just outdoor food truck. I like to be out in the open. I like people to see what we're doing, see the kitchen moving, see the food, get to see what they're about to eat. And his truck is an open air truck, and it was a trailer rather, and perfect for what we're doing. Perfect for my style.
Yeah.
And Oni started there 2017 New Year's Day. Daniel and I decided let's do it. Let's hang out outside of a brewery and sell food.
Yeah. And just curious, was there anything that you encountered along that? Rather, what did you encounter that you didn't expect in that journey of moving into the food truck and taking that route?
The elements, being an open air food truck, and me wanting to sell ramen in the wintertime. Some days, New Mexico, it could be 70 degrees January, and then the next week it's 32 and raining, and you're trying to stay warm. And, so needless to say, I put a little bit of shelter on that truck to prevent the wind, and open our trailer. Your pilot lights are being blown out. Your flames are being blown out. There's countless, like any kitchen or any event you try to throw, there's so many variables that can go wrong,
Right.
You have to plan for the worst and expect the best.
Right. Yep. I've definitely learned that as well. And what, and so then from the truck to the brick and mortar, how did that happen?
We developed a pretty rad following, like regulars, people that were coming up and very happy about us being there, which was awesome. They would plan their Sundays around coming to get a bowl of noodles, and for us, it was a surprise. I wasn't thinking we were going to get such a rad following. We'd open at noon, and there'd be a line 20, 30 people deep sometimes, and so that really is why we kept doing it. Obviously, I love cooking food, and I'd love to sell food, but if nobody showed up, we wouldn't be here. So, and we quit our jobs, ran the food truck, and we were going to run the food truck until we found the brick and mortar, which we thought was going to be a month or two. And a year plus later, because there's not a lot of spaces to rent in Albuquerque, apparently, at the time, 2019.
Yeah.
But, we found a solid spot downtown right here on Central and 6th, and we couldn't be happier. I think we walked in the space, we're like, this could work perfectly. We looked at it, just exposed brick walls, concrete floor, just everything we wanted, and it was a shell of the building, so of a space rather, so we could do whatever we want with it. And we built around that. It was awesome.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's definitely a beautiful space you guys have down there, and you were it's kind of the dream where you're located, so central. Thanks, man. As well.
I know. All right. I can't wait till live music and stuff starts happening around us, because that's why we're here. We want to be around all the energy and all the fun stuff.
Exactly.
And feed people nourishment. This is where they need nourishment the most,
Right.
Before you go into a concert to drink for the next 3 hours.
Right, totally. And what better than like a awesome bone broth to carry you through, huh?
Yeah, man. Or if if you partied the night before, come back.
Exactly. It's the recovery bowl.
Start feeling better.
Right. I know you guys are also doing some products. You have some products going on right now. What's going on with that?
So, hot sauce, I was always doing in the restaurant just as a side. And so kind of figured out maybe we should just bottle some of it, since we have so many peppers down here.
Right.
Bottle some of it and start selling it. Why not? I take sauce home and put it on my eggs in the morning. So why not offer that to our guests? So let's see. Right now, I have for sale some cayenne peppers from Silverleaf Farms. It's all fermented hot sauce, so it's a cayenne pepper hot sauce. Another hot sauce is a green jalapeno from Vida Verde Farms, which is up for sale. I think end of this week, I have 3 buckets going right now. Some habaneros from our egg ladies down at Raised on Sand Farm, so that's going to be a kicker. So habanero hot sauce fermenting right now. Some yellow hots, and some more green jalapenos. So there's constantly vegetables bubbling in the back kitchen here. It's beautiful. It's a great smell.
Yeah, and it was. Your kitchen smelled incredible just right off the bat.
Nice, man.
So looking toward the future, what's coming up for Oni? In the next. I mean, I know you guys are just opening up for the first time right now.
Yeah, we're taking it slow. We want the staff first and foremost to be safe, to feel safe, to be happy to come to work. I don't want to put anybody in a situation they don't want to be in. For safety purposes, the restaurants are a high-risk environment.
Yeah.
And, everyone who works here has girlfriends, wives, boyfriends, husbands,
right,
dogs. I don't know. But we just decided to take it slow. Why not? We're going to be open, hopefully, for a long time once we open our doors, so why rush it?
Right.
Safety, you can't take that risk, in my opinion. So
no doubt.
I think as cooks and as chefs, and our safety is our first priority. I've always said the most important tool in the kitchen is clean hands. So
yeah, no doubt.
If you can't, if you don't feel safe, and I don't know, why do it? So we're gonna take our time.
For sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
And moving forward, when the doors do open and things clear up, and maybe there's a vaccine or whatever happens, we're gonna throw a big old party. Have everyone come in. You'll be down here.
Nice.
So big party, a lot of food. I'll be able to start doing the small plates again. can't really do small plates as much with the to-go because of all the packaging. You know, we're trying to, again, watch our environmental impact with everything, and sending everything out and paper products it's tough. It's tough to see.
Yeah.
It's all, you know, mostly compostable aside from the plastic ramen bowl. Everything else is compostable and made of paper. So, you know, it's crazy. Like coming from a food truck where I served out of ceramic bowls to a restaurant that now I serve out of plastic bowls. It's a weird kind of flip, you know.
No doubt.
So that, you know, I used to throw those ceramic bowls in boiling water before I put the ramen inside of it, just so it stayed hot.
Yeah.
So now it's tough.
Yeah.
But, you know, I look forward to it once people are inside and we can start plating food again. Kitchen's looking forward to it. We're all looking forward to it. But again, we're taking our time. Safety's #1 priority at this point.
For sure. What, just out of curiosity, you know, outside of what you're doing now, what kind of small plates were you guys doing when you had that latitude to be able to, like, what are some of the types of stuff you had on offer?
We never really got to the point of doing small plates because of the food truck, you know, and the food truck had to go on paper plates and whatnot. But right now we have I have a ferments plate in the to-go box that is going to be a staple of the menu, and it'll be rotating fermented pickles, and there's a soy pickled egg right in the middle of that, just a half, just to kick things off. Again, I love eggs, so I'm going to sneak those in wherever I can. Let's see, the dumplings are small plates. Most items on the menu are going to be, it's more of a shared experience. I want guests to come in with friends or date or whatever and order 4 small plates to get started.
Yeah.
You know, and they come out as they're prepared. Yeah, it's great because you're sharing. You get to talk about the food. It's not, you have your entree, I have my entree. Let's not talk for the next 10 minutes because I'm going to be scarfing my food down.
Right.
So it's more of like let's discuss the food. Let's talk about the flavors. You know, let's talk about what the sake tastes like. Let's talk about the pairing. All that. I just want to open up discussion for people to communicate. I hate seeing people sit at a table and not talk to each other.
For sure. Yeah, I respect that very much. And that actually kind of leads into one of the things, by the way, just keep me posted on your time situation because I want to be respectful.
For sure. Yeah, I got probably another 5 or so.
Okay, cool. Yeah, but you know, last time we talked a little bit about how kind of pushing the definition of what a restaurant looks like, or, you know, pushing against what it looks like maybe. You talked about this more, creating a more community ethic. I mean, I love the way you're talking about adding time as another variable, just like encouraging diners to slow down and connect and focus on the food, and is really cool. But you also talked about this idea of making it kind of like a make yourself at home type of environment, you know?
Yeah,
something
absolutely.
Along those lines. Like, how does, you know, what's your value around that, around how you want to, the atmosphere of the restaurant?
So the idea is you walk in the door, you know, there's awesome music playing, Daniel's spinning some records, and you walk in, you walk up to the order counter, you order from there, you get your table block, go down with your number, go find a table, very casual. Sit down, your beer comes out, whatever you ordered, your wine, your sake, your food starts to come out as it's prepared, and it's not a formal, you go sit down, you wait for your server to come up to you, greet you, get you a water. It's more you're taking care of yourself, because if you want to be in a rush, if you want to sit down and eat a bowl of ramen and be out of here in 15 minutes, like, we want that to happen. You know, I'm always in a rush, and as much as I don't like that, it is nice to get a quick meal and be on my way, and a quick good meal. Because I can't tell you how many times I'm sitting there with an empty glass of water, beer, whatever, and I'm trying to close out, trying to get back, 10 minutes goes by, and I'm just always in a hurry. So I think for the option of coming in, having a quick bowl, and being on your way, there's that option. Yeah. If you want to sit down and order a couple plates and order some more plates, we're going to have a server walking around so you can continue to order. You don't have to order your whole meal at the front counter. Just you get up there, get started, find a table, get comfortable, and then you can hang out for as long as you want.
You know, could you just give our listeners a little tip about where and how to find you if they want to?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, please find us. OniABQ.com. That's ONIABQ.com. It's our website. Come check it out. We have a link to our ordering system online. We use Toast, so you can schedule your order time pickup. Super easy. If you're on lunch break, you want to pick up your food at 11:45, schedule it. It'll be ready. You know, we get it ready. We text you, come pick up your food and get on your way. And the system works great for what we're doing and the times we're in and the fact that we are doing only to go. But yeah, come check us out. We're on 6th and Central. Let's make it happen. It'll be fun. I'm excited. Cooler weather's coming, so ramen weather's also coming.
For sure.
So stay warm and keep that bone broth in your system. Stay healthy.
Oh yeah. What do you think are the main values, the main ethics that drive what you guys do? Like, what is? And I know we've talked about them, but
I think it's just it's tough. Restaurants are not the easiest places to work, and definitely not the easiest places to own and run. But the main thing is that our staff is happy. They're happy to come to work. Our producers are happy. Our guests are happy. Full stomachs, happy stomachs, healthy stomachs. Just overall benefiting the community around us is our main goal. And that goes into everything. That goes into our guests, our farmers, our producers, our staff. Just making sure we're doing the right impact, and our footprint is, minimal.
Yeah. Well, that exactly. What more could you really want from a restaurateur? That concern for the entire circle around you absolutely comes through in your food and the flavor. And really appreciate what you guys are doing out there and how you're uplifting the food community with your work. I definitely wish you guys every success possible, and I see it's coming your way already.
Right on, Derek. Yeah, come down, man. Come hang out in the kitchen. We'll cook some food.
Oh man,
pull some dumplings up.
I'm telling you, if you need another hand in the kitchen for a night, I would be honored to do that.
You're welcome whenever you want, man. Come on down. I love showing people what we're doing here.
Yeah,
and that's the hard thing about what's going on right now is I want everybody to come in the kitchen. Unfortunately, we can't do that. We've asked some stages of wanting to come down, and I want them to be here all the time, and I'm used to that. I have that open kitchen policy. My recipes, are your recipes. I have no secrets back here. I'll share them all.
Yeah.
So the restaurant goes further than just the recipes we have. So I'm happy to share anything I have, and I want anyone to come into the kitchen, of course, post this whole pandemic and see what we're doing. Whether you're a cook or not a cook, just come check it out.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, honestly, I feel like I could probably just keep asking you questions, like forever. So I realize I just want to be respectful of your time. And
yeah, man, for sure. We'll do it again sometime.
Yeah, man. But I can't wait to see you on the other side, on your side.
Definitely, bro.
Again.
Yeah, me too, man. I can't wait. I'll serve you a sake.
Dude, awesome. Looking forward to it.
Derek.
Thanks, man.
Good talking to you, bro.
You too, David. Later. I should note that we recorded this in September, and if you're listening in November, of course, things have probably changed. Just check out their Instagram page for the latest info on where and when to find them. But most importantly, don't sleep on this ramen. Get down to Albuquerque on a cold day and order yourself or your loved ones a life-giving bowl. Because, to me, the whole essence of this podcast is contained in that bowl. I mean, is the smokiness of that pork from Tokyo or from Texas? Is the sensibilities around the flavor layering Japanese, or is it Mexican? And if it's almost all New Mexican products and ingredients, isn't it New Mexican cuisine? Made by a guy from a Mexican family, trained in Portland, but now deeply steeped in New Mexico and its foodways. Now, is the interweaving of these stories and the food that follows them as rich and interesting to you as it is to me? If so, I would love to hear from you. Drop me a line on Instagram or send me an email at southeastbysouthwest@gmail.com and tell me what you think of this podcast or what subject you'd like to hear about next. I'm always looking for new lanes or discoveries in the intersection of New Mexican and Asian foodways. Tune in next time where we'll be moving away from East Asia and into South Asia, and two chefs who are each bringing something very unique to the food scene here. So thanks for listening, everyone. I hope you all stay safe, stay well, and eat good ramen.